And welcome to February expiration. Virtual this month with me as usual, Thomas. Thomas, how are you, sir?
Good. How you doing? Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, your enthusiasm is bleeding off the screen, I can tell. How are
Yeah.
things on the home front? Everything doing
Good
well? Have
overall.
you survived the storms and everything?
Oh my, yeah. It's been bitter cold here. It's I think it's been like 3.5 weeks below freezing. Like it's just been, and then the snow dump is just not going anywhere because it's just hasn't been above freezing. So I think at the end of this coming week, I think it's going to start to come up above freezing, but like 35. So
It was
that's
57 here
it's
today.
terrible.
57. So
Yeah. You jerk.
I know.
But
Hey, you know
it's
what?
all right.
I moved for a reason.
Yeah, that's good for you. Yeah.
Yes,
This has been a very, very cold year. Much colder than recent years.
definitely. It has
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
we had the most snow we've had in a decade, despite it being warm right now.
Mm.
Um, it's just for reference, we're recording this on February 7th. Expiration is February 20th. So this is going to be a little bit of a gap. We're talking about a snowstorm that's now maybe 3 weeks in our rearview mirror when everyone listens to this. But
Yeah.
it's also going to be very interesting to see what happens in the markets between the time we discuss it and the time that this comes out. But we'll get to that
Yep.
part.
Very true.
Ah, boy. But let's talk about this month. Been a crazy month. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the markets. We're gonna have like a little thing.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. So you've been following the markets this month. See what's been going
I,
on.
I have been following certain aspects of the market and seeing what's been going on. Yeah. Specifically the cryptocurrency aspects of things, but that's, one aspect of things.
The
And then
Bitcoin
also
crash
metals.
has been substantial. I agree.
Bitcoin, cryptocurrency across the board has just been pummeled. So that's been a whole thing. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, those are the two big heavy hitters, or at least and then there's a couple other ones. But like Ethereum, I think the high was like $4,800. It's less than half of that now in 4 months. So I think in like September, it hit all the all-time highs, and then in 4 months it crashed to 50%. Like that's intense. And then Bitcoin's down below. Right now it's 65,000. I think the all-time high was 109. So like that's a pretty substantial drop in that side of things. And then I think what was the other thing? I think precious metals was crashing, like gold and silver, and didn't all that.
Silver
Didn't that?
and gold,
Yeah,
silver
yeah,
and yes, precious metals crash. So the basic. I mean, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. What's going on there? Lots going on there. Um,
yeah,
there's the sensationalism, then there's the geopolitics, then there's sort of just the well, what did you expect aspect,
right.
I feel. I mean, the Bitcoin crash is a big crash in absolute terms for sure, but if you look back
Yeah,
at Bitcoin historically, the percent
yeah,
declines, it's well within its structure. It's well within what
yeah.
that thing does.
Right. The volatility is just a lot, and the swings are huge. So I'm interested to see if and when it rebounds, because like every couple of years or whatever, there's a big crash, if you will, and then everybody says, oh, it's cyclical, and then after that crash, it ends rips to a new high. So I'm interested to see if I think this is like the third or fourth big cycle for Bitcoin, like since I want to say like since 20 when was I think it was like maybe 2018, 2019, and like
Well,
that Christmas, like that like this one of the Decembers, like when like it ripped to like 20,000. That was like the first like big, like everybody, like mainstream, like people were covering it and things like that, and I was like, oh. And then it crashed down to like 10,000, and then it ripped up to 60, and then it went down to so like it's like it rips up and then it goes down by half. So it's in the down by half. Now the question becomes if that half is gonna bounce back like it has been the other times, or has it finally run out its course, and is it going to just stay low? That's that we'll see.
I think it's a buying opportunity. I do.
Mm.
I think the crash is well
Well,
within means of what you'd expect. I think if you're just going to hold the thing long term, start buying it up. I mean, I started dollar cost averaging a little bit into Bitcoin. just every month, monthly, like same way I'm going to contribute to a 401k.
Mm.
I started that, I don't know.
Full
What
disclosure,
like
I have
what
no
what
cryptocurrency wallet.
what day did it top? That was the day I started putting money in.
Probably September 25th or something around those
I
times.
did. It's actually true because then I spoke about this once the Genius Act had passed, and there got to be some clarity around like stablecoin management, and then the bigger adoption of Bitcoin itself through like
Mm.
spot ETF funds at the big boys like BlackRock and Fidelity and them. That's when I was like, all right, like this is, it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be a thing. So I started dollar cost averaging in a little bit each month just to have.
What are you using to purchase it?
So what I'm doing is a good question. I'm buying I am not a crypto expert by any stretch, right? I mean I have a basic understanding of how they're trying to operate, but if I can't quote you chapter and verse on all of the different layering protocols and things like that. What I can tell you is that I have a simple Coinbase wallet, which is the equivalent of like having just a Fidelity account where you log in on your portal and you can just like have your account balance and you can buy and sell and whatnot, or you
So
can
okay, so
transfer.
you have a Coinbase account, and then my question is, do you have a offline wallet?
Do you have an offline wallet?
Yeah,
Not right
like do you
now,
have a
no.
so all of your coins and your, I guess, keys are stored in a hot wallet online.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Highly advise looking into getting a cold wallet and transferring them onto a cold wallet because, you know, I don't know, it's just one of those things where there's been enough issues where people have lost all of that in a heartbeat because of something, whether it crashed or you know mismanagement of the website or something along those lines. I think there was a big one a while back. I can't remember the name of it. I want to say like Kraken or something, but like there was a massive cryptocurrency problem, and people lost basically all their holdings in hot wallets for whatever reason. So get a cold wallet. It's like $20. Okay.
I hear you. I know what you're talking about. The thing is, then I have to transact. I have to like do the transfers in and out every month, and eventually maybe I shall. But you have to understand, like, if
I mean, if
Coinbase has a massive problem and the custodial wallets are all hacked, well, then like,
yeah, yeah,
they were screwed anyway. That's like the same thing. Like if somebody were to hack into Fidelity's website, or really,
mm,
it's not even the web. To say if they hack into the website is nonsense. But like in the same way that you would trust some of the big custodians to keep money, really to keep equity, to keep your virtual stock certificate, so to speak. I mean, could somebody go in and screw that up and transfer them? Like, those are the plot of Batman, the Dark Knight Rises. They like they literally run into the what's supposed to be the Gotham Stock Exchange, and they plug in a device and upload the trades that suggest Bruce Wayne loses billions of dollars, and then no one's like, "Oh yeah, that must be legit." Yeah, that makes sense,
yeah,
But my point
yeah,
is, if there's such a catastrophic failure, I mean, what are you gonna do?
right.
That's sort of my
Yeah,
point.
I suppose. I mean, and yeah, okay. I mean,
Mhm.
okay. Just okay. Whatever you want to do is fine.
What happens if your house has a fire and then the cold wallet gets what if your cat eats the cold wallet and then like it gets destroyed?
That's a good point.
I'm just
Good
saying
point.
like there's risk to everything, so you just kind of have to live
Or
with it.
there's a or it gets corrupted. That's fair. Yeah, yeah. If your cold wallet gets corrupted, yeah, there's it's fair.
I mean, like at some point you just
Yeah,
have to accept the risk and diversify. I mean, with the
yeah,
way like using the most plain Jane, uh, consumer friendly, publicly traded,
yeah.
regulated company
Right.
to
Yeah,
hold
it's
it
a publicly traded company. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
because
So
they this goes back to my original point. Like I really didn't want to get into it until some of the frameworks of things started to pass.
Right.
like legal things in the United States. Now that that has happened, I'm okay, like kind of starting to buy into it. And it's like, oh, you can have my $500. It's like, come on.
Yeah, that's a
Like
fair
it's
point.
just a,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not
That's a fair
like I'm
point.
not
Yeah,
a big time crypto bro. I just have a
it's just
small
it's
allocation across a portfolio of things now. I
right,
just started adding it.
right.
And
Gotcha.
it'll do what it does.
Right.
It's not gonna make or break. If Bitcoin does go to zero because somebody figures out how to like crack the encryption, which has been the current thing they meaning, pundits and articles and substackers and stuff, they're all talking about the potential of quantum computing being able to break the encryption of the Bitcoin blockchain. They're thinking that that's plausible. So it would be basically possible for them to overwrite one of the made blocks
Mm.
and then get it to perpetuate through all of the other, um, what are they called? Everyone else engaging in mining to basically
To
create
verify it.
your own. You basically
To
create your
verify. Yeah.
own and
Mm.
just say it's mine. It's always been mine. That's like a theoretical thing. Point is, some people are saying that that's going to crack it. Maybe. I can't
Who knows?
control
I don't
that.
know. No, yeah, that's a good point.
But it goes
I think
back to
that
if they can crack that, then they can like do any other number of things also that
right.
screw things up. So you kind of have to
Yeah.
just live with it.
Right. Yeah. At that point, it doesn't matter. We're all screwed anyway. It's all simulation. We're all living in a simulation.
Yeah.
It's all
The
done.
the the I think the real reason it has crashed is just I think it's a piece of a larger liquidation event going on, which is why everything's pulled back over the last couple weeks. The software sector, all of the software stocks, they've all got trounced. And
Yep.
so then you start to have a chain reaction where other people have to liquidate other things for margin calls. So you end
Right.
up with that cascade. And I think that Bitcoin and crypto generally had some inflation, probably was a little frothy because they were trying to pass yet another act to further clarify the rules on how these things would be. It was called the Clarity Act. That's been delayed, so that's a problem. So people who were like building up a position in anticipation of that passing, they some of them probably just said screw it and moved on. You're getting a lot of liquidation in Asia right now. I know that's happening. So some of the point and play the saddest violin moves that I'd seen were some crypto bros who had to liquidate their private planes because
Oh,
Bitcoin couldn't
the shame.
they couldn't
The
post they
collateral.
had their collateral posted on the loans in Bitcoin, so
Ah,
Bitcoin
man.
crashed and then the loans got called and so then they had to like sell their private jets back. So that's
That's a shame.
sort of the type of person who's having a problem right now. So hopefully we
Yeah.
can pour one out for the crypto bros who have to return their private planes.
Yeah. I mean, it's a buyer's market in the private
The
plane market
buyer's
sector.
market in
You
private
know,
planes, used
you
private
know,
planes are yeah.
it's a good thing. I was looking into it and it's a good timing. Yeah.
Now's the time. You got to play that market. Private plane
Yeah.
market's just as important as the Bitcoin market.
It's sure
Doesn't
is.
mean we
Sure
need
is.
to we don't discriminate on markets.
No. No, I mean,
So I
yeah.
think I think though that Bitcoin is a long-term buy. I don't yeah, I was debating whether to do a market thoughts substack on it and maybe it'll happen. We'll see if where it ultimately capitulates and what the schedule looks like.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll see by the end of the year where it hits. I mean, 2025 December Tom saying 150. So, we'll see how that plays out.
It could absolutely rally. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of factors that are going to come into play this year. Kevin Warsh at the Fed, we got to see what happens there. Very interested to see how he plays out. I don't know offhand when his confirmation hearings are going to be, but I know they're going to be they'll be coming up in the spring. Tom Tillis, though, he's the senator from North Carolina. He's saying he's not gonna sit and let him get anyone be confirmed while they're still pressing charges against Jerome Powell. So that's going to be interesting to see how the confirmation process goes. But I think even if he gets confirmed, he's still a wild card. I mean, I'd been saying he's going to have to show more than others how independent his thought process can be and doing things based on data and consensus. Because as the moment he starts to kind of, even if it's coincidental, start doing whatever the Trump administration is really pressing should be done, he's going to really hurt the institution. And then you're going to start to see some weird stuff happening. You'll start to see, I think, like that'll cause crypto to move heavily if you
Mhm.
were to find out that, he's kind of in the bag for lowering policy rates just to appease the Trump administration. That's going to be weird. I think you're going to see some, um, I don't want to say nitpicking, but they are probably going to have to start really reading between the lines and data that comes in to justify what they're trying to do one way or the other. Because I just believe that the ability of the next guy coming in, Warsh, to come off as totally impartial and doing it like by the numbers is going to be the biggest. It's going to be tantamount to his most important objective, and I don't know how he's going to do it. I don't know what he's going to do. So we're going to see, but I know that's going to make
I don't know.
some things
We shall
fly later
see.
in the year.
It's going to be a very volatile year. It's going to be a very volatile year, especially going into the midterms later on this year. That's going to be something.
The midterms don't generally affect the market so much. Not as much as you'd
I think
think.
I think that there's going to be a lot of I don't want to say turnover, but I think it's going to be a lot of I think there's going to be a lot of voting against the Trump administration in the midterms, and I think
Maybe,
that's going to
maybe.
change the winds a little bit. So,
It's still a
but
long
like I
ways
said, but
off.
then it's uncertainty and gridlock. So then, true, yeah. I mean, there's still what 8 months. So
Right, right, right. And the whole point is that's
yeah,
what
we'll see. We'll see.
he
A lot's going to happen.
like the Trump administration has made no they've not hidden their intent at all. They want interest rates to be lower to spur affordability, to spur the stock market, to spur some investment headlines to really try to give people like a positive morale going into the midterms. But I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see.
No. Well, yeah. I mean, so what Warsh is supposed to be confirmed what in May potentially,
They haven't set the
like in the
times,
summer.
but Powell's done in May. He'll revert to just being a governor on the board rather than
Chair.
the chair. Thank you. So he'll still be kicking around. But yeah, Warsh will be confirmed and take over. I have to look. I have it up actually. Let's see. So he'll be the voting member in the June meeting. So he'll be ahead for two, three, four, for five Fed meetings in 2026, and there'll be there'll be four of them for the midterm elections.
Right. So that'll be something to keep an eye on for May, June to see what happens with that and how that all shakes out.
Yeah, I'll bet I'll read about it.
Oh, I'm
It'll
sure.
probably come up.
Yeah, we'll have to mark our calendars.
So, you know. Otherwise, though, markets have been surprisingly resilient. I mean, the S&P has been trading sideways, and one of the things in 2026 predictions that I had pointed out was a possibility that the tug of war was going to be whether or not the narrow band of huge corporations will continue to lead the charge for equity growth, or if you're going to see that broaden out. And it seems right now that the software sector got killed. So you guys like Microsoft had a really tough couple weeks. The overall indices are doing okay. They're just like treading water. I mean, they're down a little. You get a few, a little like pullback, maybe 5%. But and again, we're filming this on the 7th. I was, Monday the market will open down, limit down, and then I'll look like
Yeah.
an idiot. But the breadth that things are um, holding up the broader indices is, I think, encouraging. The weird caveat though is what's going on with all of the private credit companies. So the basic cascade that happened there is some of AI companies came out with some of their new agents, which are going to bring up, or they call into question the overall business plan of certain software as a service companies. So if you're paying like whatever $100 a month for this piece of software, right? Well, the new AI agents can basically do it for free. And forget $100 a month. What are you paying 29,000 a month for a Bloomberg terminal? Like at what point does it just not make sense to do that anymore? That's not necessarily the best example because you don't pay for the high-end software that is a Bloomberg terminal, you're paying for the data. But the point is the AI companies coming out of like CES at the end of January, and then other announcements announced all these new agents, which can basically do software coding for you. And they can build you a piece of software just by what's called vibe coding it now, which I have thoughts on that later. The vibe coded software would basically replace a lot of software as a service companies' main revenue. So think like Salesforce. Salesforce is a good example. Salesforce is a good example for why the fuck am I paying 5,000 a month for this dashboard with all these bells and whistles into it when I can like hire my, Gen Z nephew to like vibe code some commands into a thing and generate something that's 90% as good, you know?
Yeah.
So that fear and that new potential threat caused a really strong pullback in the software companies. A lot of those companies were being financed through private credit, meaning they were taking like loans on from companies that were, not tradable loans. They were just like private loans. Those companies now are crashing because they know that a lot of those loans are going to be defaulted on,
Mm,
either because of the collateral that was posted being shares in the company, or it calls into question a lot of the business models and the cash flow that they'll eventually generate. So that whole
right.
thing is like it's so the cascade across everything is it's all interrelated. I haven't checked what
Significant. Yeah.
correlations have been doing lately, but I would wager that some of the cross correlations of assets have gone way up during this pullback.
Mm, yeah. That's it's all interconnected. The question is, what's thriving? What are we? What's the thriving thing right now?
Banks are doing well. Banks are doing well. I mean, Jesus, the pop in natural gas.
Oh,
If you were smart enough to buy in seasonally in nat gas in January for the storms, you'd have done quite well for yourself. If you
fuck
also
yeah,
got out in time too, because there was like a
yeah,
flash in the pan.
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I think we talked about that a while ago, where it was energy in general is just going to start to creep up and just steady growth, and just it's going to just be. Whoosh. I know. No, my bills have been going up quite a bit.
Has
Electric,
it?
gas. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
And
it's because of
that
the
has
rates going up, your usage has gone up.
rates.
Hmm.
Yeah, rates are definitely going up. So much so that I changed my plan, my electric plan, to be like a flat rate, just like just what it is. Like I have unlimited use, but it's just a flat rate
That's
every
neat. I didn't
month,
know you could do that.
same price. Yeah, you can. In Pennsylvania, you can do quite a bit. You can choose your supplier in Pennsylvania, and they have a bunch of different plans, a bunch of different companies, and things like that. So every year, I look at the rates and try to figure out what the best situation is, and the rates are just going crazy. And then also locally, I mean, there's going back to data centers. Everybody, they're gonna be a big draw on the electric grid, and rates are gonna go up a lot, really big.
Wasn't
So
there
that's
a
gonna
bill? I thought there was a bill being kicked around where they would segregate the data centers when clocking the energy usage. So they'd like bifurcate the rates that they were paying. Like data centers would pay data center rate.
It doesn't matter. The infrastructure cost of it is going to be, the drain on the infrastructure and the maintenance on the regular scenarios. And like, okay, that's fine. They might have to pay more, but it that's not going to cover everything else. Like if the
But
price
wouldn't it?
disparity is,
If they pay enough?
yeah, but if the price disparity is this is going to creep up. Like it's always so if the price disparity starts here and this goes up, then this is going to creep up. So
Why?
like and because
Not for you. You're
the
paying a flat rate.
well, that's true, but but not everybody's doing that. So yeah,
Suckers.
yeah, well, yeah, it. We'll see. I mean, a lot of communities are fighting against the data center stuff, and there's a pretty big backlash on it. So because of the draw on the utilities and water courses and things like that. So
It's definitely becoming sort of a NIMBY problem with the way like
mhm,
nuclear power
yeah.
plants were that in say like the 70s. Like
Mhm.
nobody wants a data center near them because it's nothing but it just has bad vibes right now. It's peculiar.
The big thing was the warehouse boom really put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. So, all these big box warehouses came in and people were like, and they pitched it as if, oh, there's going to be so many jobs that are going to be, created by all these warehouses. And in some areas, that's true. And in some land that was repurposed, that was a really positive thing. But then people started trying to shoehorn massive big box warehouses in places that they didn't belong. And then it was really taking a big strain on traffic in particular. Like that really is a thing that is right in your face because if you're experiencing that every day, that is one of the things. Well, noise, light, traffic, those are the big things that people complain about. And, they're all physical things that people can see. So now these big box warehouses that are going to be holding electric stuff, people are sensitive to that because they're like, oh, that's going to be just like this. Now, granted, it might not have the same traffic stuff, but people are like, oh, well, what is the unintended consequence of putting all these things in our backyard? One, noise. Two, light, cooling, electric usage, things like that. So people kind of got wise when all the warehouses and e-commerce came in and just bullied all these townships. And now, they don't want data centers to do the same thing because the big
Okay.
thing with data centers is there's even less upside in some people's minds.
Because it's not
For
like they're going to hire 500 workers to work in the data center.
Right, exactly. There's going to be like five people and like, who just maintain it. And it's going to be one of those things where it's just going to take up a lot of real estate. So from a transportation standpoint, okay, well, that's fine. It's not going to really have any effect on it. From a tax revenue standpoint, theoretically that would generate a lot of taxes that you could use for infrastructure, schools, things like that. You could tax the businesses to do those things. But if your electric bill is going up through the roof, well then, and a lot of people who have wells, on-lot wells are a big deal. People are concerned about the draw on the aquifers for cooling. So
Hmm.
that's a big thing.
Okay.
So it depends on how that all plays out. So water's
Interesting.
got to come from
Makes sense.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yes, I get it. I understand. I understand. It will be interesting to see what that fight does and how that plays out. Not so big around here. There's a few, but it's far enough away that I don't. There's nothing I can do about it. Not that there would be anything I can do about it if it was in my backyard either. Um, my last
Yep.
thoughts on the markets this month: Poly Market and the Super Bowl.
I was gonna bring up Kalshi. That's
Kalshi.
what
Okay.
I was gonna talk about. Yeah, or whatever.
I
Like
see.
all those things.
I love the idea of it, but I don't do sports betting. Like I don't
I
have an account. I
I
don't want one. I have no interest in it. Nothing. But the
I
idea of
did.
it is always very fun to me. All of the fun prop bets for the Super Bowl.
It is
Yeah.
fun to look at those things and
And again,
so I
I'll
don't
say it
know.
again. I'll say it again. We're recording day before the Super Bowl. This will come out well after. But yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. So recently, but there's been speculation as to manipulation on those things, as to because they're such absurd things, and it's like what is it?
It's
And
like three
I
betters
don't
and
know if you.
one. And this would be three betters
Well,
on
I
one
don't know if you
side
caught the
of it. Like
Grammys or
this is a
not.
long shot. And you're like, how'd that guy know?
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, I
It's
don't know if you
outrageous.
watched
I,
the
there's no way
Grammys or
around
whatever,
it.
but
It's
Trevor Noah was the
outrageous.
host, and
The
it's
way people
like,
can cheat on it.
It is. Well, cheat on it, number one, and the other thing was that so he came back from a break, and he's like, he said like something ridiculous like spaghetti or something like that. And he's like, and everybody who bet on Kalshi, the long shot that I'm going, it's like, oh, that's it's like congratulations to Noah 22. You know,
Exactly, exactly.
but
It's
yeah,
just
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
nonsensical.
And I think
Um,
South Park did an episode on it, where like,
they definitely did. I didn't see
yeah.
it, but I did. I saw
So
the.
yeah, I didn't I didn't get a chance to look at all of the prop bets and stuff on like those things, but I'm sure they're absurd. But and then there's other things too. There's like politics and like other things. You can literally bet on anything, and it's just like anybody who's in the know can just you know.
No, no,
I don't see how you can
I
stop them
totally understand.
from.
I mean, it's the only way they can get away with it is that they're otherwise making so much money that they can kind of just like pave over the regulatory and other types of concerns with cash.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really what it is. So like I just pulled it up here. So like the big game, as they say, right? We can't talk about. Let's see, what do they got here? It's a lot of. Oh man, they don't have like the big game as like the big thing. They have like golf and a bunch of other stuff sitting up here. That's something.
Well, it's the difference between I don't know what they're allowed to do or not do. They probably have to follow some mundane oddball rule.
Yeah. So I mean they got the normal ones here. They've got, who's going to win the game, MVP winner, first song at halftime. That's gonna be a thing.
Hmm.
Um, all the normal prop bets. But yeah, the big
What
game
color is
prop
the
bets are quite good.
Gatorade that they throw on the
Yeah, all that
coach
stuff.
and
Yeah,
that stuff?
so that's always gonna be. Yeah. What will be the first advertisement? That's a
Hmm.
good one.
But
Yeah.
that's a good
We were talking
example of
about
like there are people who know the answer to this. There's somebody who
right, exactly.
plans
That's what I'm
that.
saying. Right. Yeah. Like it's not like it's a surprise. It's not like it's random. There's a set thing that's gonna happen. So and that's the thing. Anything like that where there's people involved in that decision making, that's gonna come out somehow, some way, and people are
Absolutely.
gonna know the answer. It's just it's just how do I get to be one of those people? Like,
Right.
I don't care
Well,
that it happens. Just how do I get to be on the right side of it?
I forget exactly when it was. It was around the holidays, maybe. They had the big point shaving scandal that they scooped up all the college athletes for. That was
Oh,
another one.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was a big problem too. And then there was like it was like a string of announcements where they got people on it. And it
yeah.
really, on the one hand, you're kind of like, well, yeah, like
No
what?
shit.
Of
Yeah.
course this is going to happen. Like,
Well,
what do you?
especially at like the mid level. Like say
Sure.
you're not necessarily you can't really okay. Let's assume like okay. What's the like I was gonna say like Ohio State game, right? Like Ohio State, Michigan, or like Ohio State, like a big program like that. You might get somebody trying to influence that, but it's so nationally televised and they're so good that one person may not be able to make a massive impact. Like maybe if you could get to like the star quarterback, but then that's massive amounts of attention and it's most likely not going to happen. But if you're looking at somebody in like the Sun Belt Conference,
Sure.
like
Mhm.
like you're definitely going to be able to like the 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 left tackle on the third ranked Sun Belt team who's getting half a full ride. Hey, I'll give you $5,000 to let him get sacked 3 times this game because the over under is 2.5. Fine. What do I
Right.
care?
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's
No. It's
like
that simple.
yeah,
You just have
it's
to
like all
know.
right,
You just. It's like well, it's really. It can boil down to just like you play the entire game
mhm,
100%,
right,
and you just
slip up four
decide to
times.
like be a little slow off the line for one or
Mm,
two plays and
yeah,
tips
or
it tips the spread and that's it. And there's no way
or
they can control it.
false start. Mm. you know,
Yeah.
I, I just fell over. It's just the way it happens. And then yeah, and then it's a
Like
it's
I'm
a
sorry,
flash
I
in the
just
pan.
slipped. Like I just
Yeah,
slipped on
it's
that
just
one.
yeah,
It
yeah,
happens because it's so difficult to really find a
yeah,
smoking gun piece of evidence unless
right.
you do something really stupid and obvious.
Yeah, I mean, if you, yeah, but
But yeah,
yeah,
it's It's 100% happening. I don't know how you
but
stop
but
it.
well, you can't, and that's it. Sports betting is a big. I don't want to say I will say epidemic, I guess. Especially in the college aged 20s demographic. So
Oh
like
yeah.
I I bet so in my 20s I bet a lot. I bet on sports betting a lot. Like when all that stuff became legal
Hmm.
on your phone and all that stuff like yeah, because it was fun, it was alluring, it was entertaining. You watch sports anyway. You put a
It was
couple bucks on it.
boring.
But like it ruined a lot of people. Like people absolutely got addicted to it.
Hmm.
And because it was on your phone, it was in your pocket and it was in
That's
your
the
face all
trick.
the time.
Hmm.
And so when it first came out, like I was talking with some people at work and um a guy I worked with, he was a big sports guy too. Talk sports all the time. He said he was at a party and a guy was smashed, like he was drunk out of his mind, and he kept pulling out his phone and he kept making the same bet over and over and over again because he was drunk and he didn't understand that he made the bet again. So he bet like thousands of dollars just
Hmm.
like because it was in his pocket and it's like, oh Jesus, yeah, that's really bad. So but yeah, it's addicting, and like the allure of being able to win big and all of the advertisements and stuff, like it's in your face all the time, and it's just like they need to do something about the advertising. I think is a big deal because like even when I'm sitting at home, like I'm not watching sports or whatever like that, but like if you're watching like one of those streaming services with ads or even on like an Amazon Prime thing, like it pops up and I'm like, if
Hmm.
you're, you know, 15, 16, 17, and you see that you've been seeing that your whole life, like,
Oh yeah.
as soon as you
Mhm.
can, you're gonna start doing that, and like that shit's addicting. It's not, and it'll yeah, it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be hopefully it gets better before it gets worse. But man, yeah, like it definitely has ruined some lives.
And it will continue to. And I'm not a prude about
Yeah,
it. I like to play poker.
no,
I like to play
yeah,
blackjack. I
yeah,
just know that like keeping it being able to bet on anything
yeah. It's yeah,
at any
it's a bit of a
time
problem.
is not good. That's not good policy.
No, I mean, and it takes a lot of discipline because I mean, like, before, like, okay, like when we were in college, um, like you really had to figure out a way to bet with a bookie. Like, like it wasn't
And it
easy.
felt like sleazy, or it really felt
Yeah,
like you're gonna get. This is
like
like,
and like it was kind of the dawn of like the offshore booking accounts was happening around that time, and I I definitely used them, and it was shady, and but I did, and it was and but like you really had to find it, and it wasn't easy. Like you really had to seek it out. Like the casual person wasn't gonna be like, oh, let me pull up my phone and download this app in 3 seconds and put like $50 on something. Like you know,
and they weren't the
eh,
official sponsors of like
right,
the NFL or
right. Well,
whatever.
that's the thing. Yeah, like well, yeah, it's like the history of sports shaving, point shaving. It's like how can you say that there's no cheating going on if you're the official sports book of the NFL or the NBA or like the NBA is that they've had problems for years
Sure.
and they
Right.
had refs
Hmm.
like the what's Phil he was a ref that got a massive scandal that he was a massive betting guy and yeah
Hmm.
but yeah it's and in basketball that's much more easy to manipulate because there's less players on the court um you know shooting you can have an off shooting night and
Right.
you can hit the under and it's like oh I had a bad night like didn't fall my way.
It, I, that's what there's there's a way to manage a book that it's like a sports book, which styles itself towards games with more action and games with less action.
Yeah.
So like there's a big difference between like goals in a soccer game, for
Uh-huh.
example, versus the over under on points in a basketball game. And it's
Right.
because you're going to get a lot more baskets, like
Mhm.
it's a lot more liquid. Like in some ways it's like a
Right.
liquidity thing. Like
Right.
if you're playing soccer and you know in Premier League, like a really, top-notch game, you're going to get what? 2-1 if
Yeah, I
if
mean
it's an exciting
that's
game
yeah, I mean
with a clear
that's a decent
winner.
amount, yeah. Yeah, I mean it depends. Yeah, it depends on the teams too. I mean, it depends on the level of and the disparity. If you have the top
Mhm.
team playing the worst team, you might get a 3-4-0, 3-4-1 game. You might get the over under might be set at 2.5. Like
Mhm.
that's you're not going to get a whole bunch of people hammering the over or hammering the under. Like you're going to get an even distribution of that most likely because it'll be right around that. They set the line pretty well on that. But in something with like a lot more scoring, there's much more people that could influence that, and yeah, you're going to get a lot more movement on the line.
Right. Yeah.
So
It is
yeah,
what it is. That's why I don't get involved with it. There's one thing
yeah,
I never, you can count on one hand the number of times I made a sports bet because I don't know how
yeah,
to, I just have no sense of it. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know what the hell's going on
And that's
here.
and that's and that's the right way to approach it. It's like because it's one of those things where the worst thing that can happen is that you win the first time you do it. You're like, oh, this is easy. And
Right. That's the toughest, right? Yeah. The
yeah,
beginner's luck will kill you.
yeah, success is the worst teacher. And also, it's like, it's like, oh, what was the you know, you always wonder like, oh, how do people get addicted to heroin? And like, oh, you know what the easiest decision in my life was ever doing? Not doing heroin. Well, it's like, well, people that do it, well, sometimes, that heroin is obviously ridiculously addicting. Well, it's people that can, if you open the floodgates to sports betting, there are people out there that'll probably get addicted to it, and it's like, oh man, that's a problem. So
The same thing with Robinhood accounts or,
yeah,
brokerages and stuff like that. It's the same
yeah,
gambler's high for a lot of
yeah.
people. And you have to, like, I've been guilty of that for
Oh
sure.
yeah, oh yeah, I
But
100%
it takes,
discipline.
maturation. You
Hmm.
have to get older and know not to do that. Like, I have nothing like that on my phone. Like, I can't check, like, what my brokerage balance is on my phone.
Hmm.
And I have no interest in trying because it's just
Right.
not something that I have. I know
Yeah,
from
because
years and years of
because
being involved with that stuff that you
yeah.
live and die by your P&L. It's just not a good way to live life.
No, out of sight, out of mind. You gotta have boundaries. You gotta have discipline.
Mhm. I mean,
That's what it is with
you can
everything.
trade and do anything as aggressively as you want. That's not my concern. I've done some very aggressive trading in my day, or putting on positions, but staring at it every 12 seconds, not gonna help anybody.
No,
Yeah.
no, you're right.
Uh,
Yeah.
But moving
Hmm.
on to the education stuff. Education stuff. So I did this exercise this month. Are you familiar with Claude Code? You know
Nope.
what Claude Code is?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, so in AI, and this goes right into like why the software sector was going down the drain this past month. A lot of the major AI companies announced that they were going to have new AI agents that can do work. The primary task that they're really pitching right now is the ability to code software.
Right.
So what they're doing is it's called vibe coding. So
Hmm.
when you normally take a coding class or you're a software engineer, you have your program there where you write the code in, and there's all sorts of rules and syntax and like styles, and there's a whole way. Like it's a real skill set to learn, like a high skill set to become a strong coder. Vibe coding is you punch into a prompt. You say, I want software that does this, this, and this. It should have this. And then it like runs and then it like spits it out for you. And then
Right.
you look at it and you say, no, I wanted the buttons to be here and bigger. And you literally like write that into the thing.
Yeah.
And then it like turns its gears and pops out version 2 and it has those changes for you.
Yep.
So it's an iterative process. So the idea is in theory, like an idiot can just like code in whatever they want
Right.
and get it.
Right.
So the main tool that lets you use it, or every major provider has come out with their own version of it, but the current head in terms of people using it and people giving it positive reviews is Anthropic's Claude Code.
Hmm.
So Anthropic is sort of going towards the corporate segment. Basically, like Google's AI tools are being used, like they're embedded in everything. So I can use Google's AI tools in my Gmail, in my calendar, in my notes, and junk like that because I have a Google ecosystem. I have a Droid phone. I do Google everything. But I don't use Google everything for work because Google doesn't have like a corporate footprint, you know? Like you're lucky if you can use a Chrome browser in some corporate environments.
Right.
Anthropic, a different company, is going after that market. So they're starting to work via consulting firms and things like that to show different functions that they can sell as like a corporate product, like a software as a service product, basically. So, for example, like you might be able to build a like let's say you're in, I'm trying to give a good example. Let's say you're in like quality assurance or something like that, and part of your job is you have to write like all these test cases where you have to do checking to make sure that the software works, right? That's a pain in the ass menial job. You can have the tool observe the software and then build itself a series of tests that it should check to make sure the code functions. And you could tell it to add more and whatever else. It's a good like example of like menial code that becomes automated. So Claude Code is the big one. So I tried it out this month. I like downloaded Claude Code and I found like a tutorial where it was going to make me a whole portfolio management. Basically, it would take in an Excel sheet with all of my trades for the month, and then it would output a tool that did all sorts of um, it did all sorts of basic portfolio management analysis. So it would give you like a nice pie chart and give you like some breakdowns of statistics and it give you all this stuff. So that's what it was supposed to do. So I installed it and you have to pay $20 to have it. And then you get to use the CLI, the command line prompt. So you're like typing it in. So it's like the most advanced software in the world, but you still use like a crummy like shell account, like command prompt, which is fun. So I tried it out and it's not that hard. Like I did it. Like I did the tutorial and I ended up like just punching in what I wanted. And the thing is the problem that I'm seeing, and it's this constant thing of with AI where you're short-sighted, people have to know what they want to build,
Right.
which is often not
You can't.
something that's easy to distill out of people.
Right.
So like they gave me in the tutorial that I did, they gave me a prompt that I just copied and pasted it in. But it was like a book, you know? It was like section by section, bullet points. It was like several hundred words of exactly what this tool was supposed to do.
Right.
And like that in and of it, like for me to write that myself
Hmm.
and then plug it in, yeah, you just like you can plug it in,
You have
not
to have
like
a
a
thorough
plugin, but I can
understanding
like
of
copy
things.
and paste it in and it can like read that and generate it. But
Right.
it still takes a fair amount of skill and thought and
Yeah. You have to
processing
have the background.
to tell it exactly what
Right.
you want, you know?
Right. 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 You need to have the understanding to see the full process so that you can have a tool. It's exactly what it is. It's just a tool to get from A to B. But you need to know the steps A1, A2, A3, A4, A5 to get to B. Because if you just be like, hey, make me a website that can do this. Okay, well, that's fine. It might do that, but it's not going to have everything that you need it to do, and it's going to crash and going to be crappy. But
Right.
yeah, like you need to have the knowledge and the understanding of the how so that you can troubleshoot it.
Yes. Yes. That's
And
true.
and what's going to
I
end up happening is that over time, people are going to lose the understanding of the how.
Yes, that's a possibility. But speaking as someone who's now like done a lot of corporate projects with say vendors, the way that this is being, I think, pitched is you can get three dudes in your organization who would represent for just three reasonable salaries. They can be your, I don't even know what they'd be called. Your software whisperers, you know, like the
Mm.
guys who can tell Claude what you want properly for the
Your
software.
prompt managers.
The problem manager, something like that. You know,
Yeah.
it gives me like a 3D printing kind of vibe, you know?
Mm.
Like you
Yeah.
just have this you'll have Claude code in your ecosystem and you kind of just tell it what you need and then it'll kind of like pump that out for you. Same way
Yeah.
like a 3D printer could just make like any random tchotchke thing you need. What that says to me is the vendors to a lot of companies, that's who that would impact negatively. which goes back to why software sector had such a crappy month. Like Salesforce, like if you don't need to pay $5,000 a month to get this Salesforce dashboard connected to all these AIs, you just say to Claude Code, hey, I need a dashboard that connects to this and it does this and it shows me this and these are the things I care about, and it'll pump that out for you, and you pay $20 a month for Claude Code and you can do whatever you want.
Right.
So that compression is where the markets reacted to it once this thing came out. So I
Yeah.
I made a point to try to see if it works and how well it could actually work. And I get it, it's fine. What's funny about it is that from someone who's just a like a your average Joe business user, there's really not a hell of a lot of difference between trying to email a vendor and explain what you want your software to be versus just kind of emailing and writing it into the Claude Code prompt. So for me, what it's done is give me a little bit sharper clarity on what areas of job markets are going to be impacted more fully and what areas are probably going to survive, and still further, what are going to be mutated. So there's this idea of a role when you're in kind of software development life cycles of product owner, right? The product owner is the guy who's responsible for what the software is, does, and what it can do. If you want to get it changed, he's the one who's involved with that. If you want to get it, adjusted in any way, he's the one who knows. He's the one who signs off on it, whatever. That guy is going to need to know how to tell Claude what to do. Right now, that guy's job is to tell a vendor, like, oh, we need the thing to have a new field and it's going to be a column that, this is the calculation and it's going to need to be referenced here and we need it on these three reports that get generated and every month. Right now you got a guy who can kind of like convey that to a vendor. So the question is going to become whether or not that guy is going to just be now talking to a prompt manager in 5 years if it goes out to, say, the big banks start using it, or whether or not that's going to evolve into a whole new role. So I think that's kind of what's going on there, best I can tell. The
Yeah.
big,
I
the
mean,
big. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, that sounds probably, like I said, probably about 5 years. It's probably going to be what it's going to be. It's going to be just somebody talking to prompt manager of sorts, and then that's all it's going to be. They're going to figure out how to manipulate the prompt to get
Right.
what you want, and that's all it's going to be. So,
So it'll be interesting to see how it goes, but I see why the some of the companies had problems based on the introduction of this. Because over a longer term period, you can see how it's going to carve out some of there will be some groups which manage to take it out, or take
right,
rather utilize it in a way that they become repetitive.
right.
Yeah. So like the big item that I saw, Litquidity, who's like one of the big meme providers in the world of finance, Litquidity posted how Goldman has been using Claude. They've been experimenting for the last 6 months with AI workers, like AI agents being used for various back office functions. The I didn't get a good line on how much, because there's like, what is the difference between using an AI agent and just having something be automated? Like, I don't know exactly where the discretionary value comes in for some of that. Like if you're trying to, like if you're Visa and you have to send 2 million payments out the door daily because
Right.
you're Visa,
Yeah.
all of that is like automated. It's all going through like, APIs and such to
Right.
So I don't know how you improve it using an AI agent if it's already a heavily automated, repetitive procedure. But my guess is that it's useful more for like AML, which is anti-money laundering,
Mm.
all sorts of detection
Yeah, I think
measures.
yeah, I think that's probably where my mind went to, was
Mhm.
some analyzing deviations, something along those lines that would you need like one step above automation, where you need to process and interpret data as opposed to just processing.
Yeah. So I mean, I mean, I shouldn't say that I can't think of a way to do it. I imagine the way to do it is the difference between, say, using the Visa example is 3 million, let's say 2 million payments go out the door at Visa every day. you set up rules for that to be automated, and then if it meets every rule, it goes out the door.
Right.
An AI agent would be simultaneously looking at probably all 2 million of them
Hmm.
and noting anything that seems amiss
Right.
based on the volume it's seeing in real time.
Right.
Not that there's a rule, it's
Right.
just making an assessment
Right.
that of these 2 million things, these 12 look a little weird. Like they're just not, and they'll get flagged,
Right. Right.
as
Yeah.
like potential whatever, terrorism or fraud or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's a different way of doing it because automation is so rules based. This is more, it's like cluster, you're getting into like cluster analysis and things for to figure out oddball flags for fraud detection and things. I imagine that's how they're trying to use it. Could be other ways, but it's interesting. So I guess they were taking like say a Claude Code bot, giving it a series of parameters, giving it further set of rules, or rather leash might be the better way to describe it, and that's going to let them go find what they find. So we're gonna see what happens there.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that even if the current processes that are in place are just automated, it's impressive to see when they flag things and why they flag things, like currently with credit card companies or whatever, financial institutions, whatever. And then if they're going to take that one step further, it's going to be interesting to see what they find and how they interpret that stuff.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, I don't know exactly what's gonna happen with them. I am still in the camp that AI is much further away from being a real societal problem than people think. Like it's not gonna it's gonna seep in places for sure, but it's not gonna, like, we're all not gonna be like, it's not gonna be Mad Max in 2028. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, because like you said, you need to understand the how. Because like the what you said, the bricks of text that you needed to put into Claude Code to get what you wanted, that takes time and effort to figure out how that to get that bricks in. Like you need the complexity of interpretation of a human to really fine tune those things. Somebody, AI is going to be like a plug and chug type things for a bit, and it's going to be able to churn out the end, I guess, product faster than what humans can code or something along those lines. But to get to that point where it's going to get you what you want, that's going to be where you're not going to be able to replace that for a while.
Yeah, I agree. I think we still got some time, but it is an interesting. It's a milestone. This thing
Oh
that came
yeah,
out,
yeah, it's
like
definitely
like I
moving.
tried it. I was like, what spooked Microsoft to go down 15-20%?
Right.
And that's what it is. It's this
Yeah.
new the idea that you can just have a guy in your office building the thing on a whim, and you don't need a vendor with five software engineers and a one project manager, one sales rep, and blah 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 to eventually turn the thing around in 3 months and everybody
Right.
gets their beak wet. It's hey, we need a new column, and then the guy just writes, make a new column,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
and then you're done.
Yeah,
And it's like
exactly. Yeah. It's like, okay,
that's
yeah.
basically what it is.
Yeah.
You don't even have to know how to code a column.
Right.
You
Right.
don't need to know how to write like an
Right.
SQL command to build a new column in a database. You can just say like make a new column. And
Well, that's the thing. Yeah.
that's
And
what it
so
does. It's like, all
so
right.
it's gonna be a whole bunch of people with good visionary skills. Like I have a vision of something and I know how to articulate what that vision is. And people who can articulate what that vision is adequately are going to be prosperous in this next stage. But people who are good at like trial and error might take them a lot longer. You know?
It I don't know. It depends. Maybe it's gonna I don't know what's gonna happen, but
Yeah.
it's certainly interesting to see how it actually operates to see
Yeah.
what that impact was.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. And I think that goes back to what we were talking about, learning AI, and that goes into my 2026 journey of learning more things about AI, and that it's a new feather in my cap to look into is this Claude Code and figuring out all that stuff. Maybe I'll build a website. maybe that'll be my project for 2026. I'll build an AI generated website that I'm gonna launch just just for
I look forward to checking that out.
yeah, and we'll see. We'll see. Long days from the HTML coding that I know, but yeah, long days.
Look, if I do caret B close caret, I make it bold.
Oh, oh well, and then BR for line breaks and
BR for
uh,
line breaks. That's
yeah,
right.
there you go. Yeah, yeah,
Title, form,
yeah. Tons of things. Yeah,
good stuff.
open body, closed body.
I miss it so. Only
Yeah,
those were the days when you
yeah.
1994
That
website.
peaked. That peaked. That was my coding experience. It peaked in
Mm.
HTML.
So moving on. Let's move on to the final topic of the pod, dad life. Dad life. How is your dad life progressing?
It is. It is progressing. The weather has been a challenge this past couple weeks
It's
because
been a
kids
beast.
being cooped up, snow days, delayed openings, all that stuff is it's tough. So learning how to juggle working from home with a kid at home, that is tough. That's a challenge. That is something that I'm learning. It's a challenge. So we we figured out a way. We figured out one of my wife's coworkers' daughters is like a high school kid who's in the same school district, and great kid. And she's like one of the swim coaches that like our kids go for like swim lessons, whatever. So like kid them. So on days off, we basically hired her to come over from like 10 to 2. So so like she's so I could just sit and do work and like
Yeah,
that worked out.
yeah. So you got to
Yeah,
find ways to. You got to find
yeah.
your rhythm. We're fortunate in that we've had enough exposure and experience of working from home with the kids
Mm,
being home from one another that we have like a protocol in place, I call it. It's like, okay, we
yeah,
know what this is going to be.
yeah.
We're able to juggle it and get through stuff, and thankfully, our jobs allow for it, and I have enough flexibility that I can kind of arrange things as necessary. But it was
Right.
rough. That was a rough stretch. The because it was sort of like 2 weeks in a row of problems down here.
It's been for about 4 or 5 weeks, since like Christmas, since before Christmas.
Oh yeah, that's
It's
true.
been,
Yeah,
so like Christmas break was 2 straight weeks
oh
for
yeah, there was Christmas break before that. You're right. You're right.
so Christmas
That
break
was
was
a
two
whole
straight
different
weeks,
thing.
and it's like, oh, that's a lot.
Mhm.
And then the weather has just been in January has been just abysmal, and so we're getting through it. But fortunately, though, I will say we really haven't had too many sicknesses, which is a positive. So,
Oh,
so
we had
you
two
know,
different things run through the house. First,
no, we've been.
it was a cold. Everyone got like a bad hacking cough,
Mhm.
and then everyone had like a later like restart, and we all had a bad stomach bug for a day.
Mm,
So
yeah,
we had to deal with two rounds of sickness. That was tough during all of it, but we're on the upswing now. Seem to be doing okay. We're
we're
just
just kind of at a general overall level of malaise for so that just becomes the normal. It's just normality. So we're not really getting the spikes, which is good. So
It's like you go on a vacation and it's
yeah,
like 7 day vacation and it's like day six
hmm
and you're like hungover and sunburned. You're just like, we're just gonna sit here and wait till we can leave.
yep, yep, yeah,
That's what phase we're in, right?
yeah, yep,
We're
yeah,
just gonna sit here and wait.
yeah. But overall, I mean, things have been going pretty well. We are embarking on the potty training for the
Like the
for the younger
body
one.
training going,
We're embarking on that soon. That is going to be a thing. We're gathering up all the diapers, and we're moving. We're doing it. So, so
having a
round two.
gonna burn them on the front lawn, big
Yeah,
pile of
well,
diapers.
we're gonna donate them.
Oh,
Just
that's
donate
nice.
them to
That's nice.
other, to people that can use them. So, but yeah, so we've got that on the horizon, and then February is a big month. We got a lot of things going on. We got a Super Bowl. Got a I don't know how Super Bowl is in your house, but that's gonna be tomorrow and or whatever. And a bunch of girls in my house that don't give a crap, don't care. So
More or
we're
less what I have. Yeah.
probably sitting there watching it on my phone and just well, Cinderella's playing or something.
Yes, that's sort of where we are too. We're not big Super Bowl fans. I mean, we'll have it on. We're gonna, but it'll just
Well,
kind of be on in the background.
yeah, we just gotta focus on the snacks.
Yeah, well,
Focus
yeah,
on
okay.
the fun. Focus.
But we have, it's like how many people show up hungover on Monday after the Super Bowl? Like they always give a lost productivity stat. Like USA Today on the Monday after the Super Bowl will always have like a little like side panel, and they're like, oh, the people who like call out of work or
Mm,
hungover or
yeah,
just like
yeah,
doing the bare minimum to get through the day because they're exhausted.
yeah,
It is
yeah.
what it is. Next year, I think next year's Super Bowl's on Valentine's Day.
It's possible.
I'd have
Yeah,
to double check that. If it's not 2027, it's 2028. It's one of them coming
right.
up. So
Yeah,
that'll be a fun conversation for a lot of people.
yeah, right. How do you manage that? Well, 'cause that brings up the next weekend is Valentine's Day. So gotta gotta figure out how to I don't know court my Valentines.
We're not big on Valentine's Day. We're just kind of like
No,
keep them
no,
moving.
neither are we. But it's one of those. But you don't want like now that so school you gotta bring in Valentines and distribute them and got to get all that together and whatnot. So and you don't want them to feel left out. You don't want that. You don't want to bring the weird thing. You don't want to. Got to make sure you do all the things and make sure that they're all equipped.
You gotta bring
And
like the goodie bag of candies for Valentine's Day, and they
yeah,
all
it's one
make
of those
with all the kids. They make what like they make like a
little
box or an envelope holder
yeah,
or a
and then
mailbox, some
yeah,
type of thing like that,
yeah,
and you gotta go and bring them all around. And yeah, we gotta do some of that. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
I
They
got to
sent
make my
home like the
annual.
class lists for everybody, so they know how to.
Yep,
And then
yep,
they have to say like everybody gets one, and that's it.
yep,
Yeah, because
yeah,
they're still a little young to start to have like the crushes and stuff. So it's not getting to
right.
be like that. That stuff is I'm not looking forward to that at all when that time comes around in a
Yeah,
couple of
that'll
years.
be a problem. That's I'm not looking forward to that in a couple of years, but we'll see. But I have to make my wife an annual Valentine. The I choose you.
From The Simpsons?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's a
I
good
have a
one.
template made. So yeah, so yeah, it's fine. But yeah, and then the other big topic is the Olympics is going on, the
They
Winter
have
Olympics.
started. Yes,
Yeah.
I started to listen out for any weird like
Things.
tragedies or problems. Not like just what's her name who fell.
Oh, I didn't see that.
But any sort of, like
Oh, she broke her
political.
ankle. You're talking about Lindsey Vonn,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
skier? She
yeah.
like tore ACL or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she was like they like helicoptered her out. That was like I know that was a big thing. But otherwise, I'm just waiting to hear about any sort of, you know,
Major.
somebody has a political statement on the podium, right? It's like they get their gold medal, they take like their shirt off and they have like a t-shirt on it that has like it's like, oh, free Palestine or
Mm.
like,
Yeah.
whatever, something. Waiting to
Well,
hear about it, something like that happening.
the thing for me that's fun is to just turn on the weird events and to like show my kids like, hey, this is a thing that exists in the world.
Watch
Like,
curling. I watched a little curling.
sure. Well, oh, Americans are doing really well in curling.
They are.
They
They are.
yeah. So they had the mixed double match on today where they were
Hmm.
playing Great Britain, who's also undefeated in round play, and
Hmm.
so we turned that on for a couple minutes. And we were watching that, and we watched like one end, and just expose them to it, and it's just interesting to see like their take on like what that is, and like okay, this is good. So and then we were paging through, so like we have we had it all like on demand or whatever, and so I showed them the luge
Oh, okay.
and they're watching the luge and like oh they're like what is going on like what are they doing I'm like yeah I have to watch this hey and then this is called skeleton this is where they do it head first this is
Oh, yeah.
yeah so that's fun and then figure skating they were entertained by figure skating that was pretty fun it was like dancing around and whatnot that was up
Sure,
their
sure.
alley
The figure skating is fun.
it was interesting for them and then the big air snowboarding competition was on today so they were
I would
like
watch that.
well, so it was just for like two jumps just to see it, and they were like, holy crap, that was like it's a big air jump, and like it's just interesting to see what they respond to, and to see like oh like so somebody was like oh I want to do that, I'm like okay yeah you do that, she's okay yeah, you want to do that go for it, so
Godspeed.
yeah
I'll be on the
but
ground waiting.
yeah but yeah no it's just fun to see like weird stuff that you're not used to seeing and just seeing how they react to it because I'm sure their reactions are going to be much different than what my reactions are, you know.
Some of it
There,
is the novelty of it is
it,
enjoyable for
it's
sure. I
novel,
mean, you
exactly.
say I'll watch this for 15 minutes once every 4 years.
That's exactly what it was. We
Like
had it on for
okay,
maybe we cycled through like four different events and we watched like a little bit of each one. Just like, hey, this is just so you know, hey, this is a thing that exists.
sure,
Like just so that they're aware of it. And I watched the opening ceremonies for a little bit, and
okay,
the thing that was surprising was Mariah Carey was singing. Don't really know why.
why not?
Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. So yeah.
I think the Olympics are. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they're only once every 4 years. Like why do people not care terribly about it? Why isn't it like the biggest thing like every time? I
Um,
don't know. I
yeah,
don't
I don't
know.
know.
Meh. Moving on.
Well, I don't.
Not even worth the
I
time to
guess
discuss.
I guess in in certain worlds it might be to the big to be. I mean, but like we're not big winter sports people, so like the
That's
Winter
true. I mean,
Olympics
to
are
some
not
people, there are pockets of people who really care, but I'm saying it
like like
doesn't. It doesn't
like
like capture the imagination of the nation the way it may theoretically could compared to the Super Bowl. I mean,
well, even the Super Bowl has shown waning interest in it's all whatever pockets you're into. Like if you're in a subset of people that are like they're really into football, well then the
yeah,
Super
but you're
Bowl
gonna get like
is massive.
40% of the country watching the Super Bowl.
Well, maybe. I
They
don't know.
expect like 150 million people to watch the Super Bowl.
Well, I guess I guess the Latino crowd is going to be pretty big into this year watching Bad Bunny. So, we'll see.
Doesn't
Yeah,
matter what
yeah,
they're watching it for, but like
yeah,
they're still watching
yeah.
it.
That's a good
But the
point.
Olympics, like you don't hear 150 million United States citizens are watching the Winter Olympics.
It's true. Yeah, the events aren't as I guess ubiquitous as and it's hard because there's probably like there's really no one to really rally around like in
That's a
terms
piece
of
of it.
names. Like the storyline is the big thing. So like the only one that I know about this year is like the one figure skater. He's like his name is like Malin or something like that. They call him the Quad God. He's
Okay.
like he's the only one to ever land like a quad axle in
Mm.
competition. So like, he and I think he came in second. It's like I was like, all right, cool.
I think you're right that a big piece of it is lack of attachment.
Right,
You are not unlike the NFL where you're following your team year
right,
after year and it's
right,
season after season and you
right,
have an entire season leading up to the big game.
right. It's a story.
There's
It's
a
the
story, there's a
culmination.
narrative, there's how these people have done, what their strengths are,
Right.
what their weaknesses are. The Olympics, you turn it on, you're like, ooh, curling. And
Yeah.
you're just
Yeah,
like, that's a guy like doing
yeah,
his thing. I don't know who this guy is. I don't
yeah,
know.
like
I don't
ESPN isn't talking about like the regional curling qualifier tournament. Like it's not like you've been following these curlers for years, through their college game and then
So
so it
we joke about in the summer about the Nathan's hot dog eating contest with the
oh dude,
characters there.
don't get me started on I'm I am so big into Major League Eating. I I know so much about it.
Well, we'll
I
save
know
that for another time.
that'll be for June. And because I am a former Nathan's hot dog eating competitive person. I was in a qualifier. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So I would love to do that again. That was fun. But
Well,
I've been to
maybe
Coney Island. I've yeah. So
maybe you can. Maybe you can. Once the snow
mm,
melts, once everybody
yeah.
is put
But
to
what were you
bed
saying?
or
What were you saying about Major League Eating? What do you?
all I was gonna say is that like nobody gives a crap what Joey Chestnut is doing the other 364 days of the year.
There's a small subsect of
Maybe
people.
you kind of ruined my point, but
Yeah. But yes. By and large,
by and
yes.
large, nobody
Correct.
knows what that motherfucker's doing the other 364 days of the year.
Correct.
He could
Yes, that
be
is
he
a
could be in an
fair
opium
point.
den in Shanghai right now. I have
Unless
no idea.
unless unless like, back in the day when Kobayashi was eating hot dogs against a bear. Like
Well, sure, but that was,
yeah, exactly.
that was
Yeah.
another, gimmicky thing they
Well,
did one day.
it is. Yeah, Major League it's a gimmicky. Yes, correct. And the Nathan's hot dog eating contest is like the one day a year. The for the 10 minutes the competition is going on, people are like, "Oh, how many hot dogs is Joey Chestnut going to eat today?" And they watch for 3 minutes and then they get the final total at the end and then that's the end of it. So, but after that, flash in the pan, nobody cares. But
Right. It's like bobsled in the Winter Olympics.
exactly.
or something like
Exactly.
that. Like, okay, that was a fun. I'll see that again in 4 years. That'll be cool.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right,
Yeah.
my friend, we're coming to the end of our time. Trying to find that groove, that like categorization groove for each thing we're talking about. I think we're in the process. We're getting there. We're getting there. But as usual, we got Substacks that are going to drop every Tuesday. We have this once a month. You can check out Instagram for some new stuff, and then we have the store. Look for a new promo code for the month on the store. That's been going well. January was a slow month. January is a slow month. But $3 gets sent to charity. $3 to our charities this month. I'll true up with that quarterly. But that is
There you go.
open. We did it. We cured cancer. Like, but that
Sure.
was good. So we're giving $3 to charity now through the store. So that's nice. That'll be my.
Every little bit helps.
That's what I can do to. I always need to find something to lord over people. Now I can
Yeah.
say that donate to charity. I do all these good things.
Of course, yeah, yeah.
Uh, but other than that, we'll see what happens. There might be one or two other surprises coming down the pipe on the feed, so we'll see what happens. No
I like how
promises.
I like how
What?
your list of good deeds trailed off after donating to charity. There really wasn't much substance after that.
What, you need more?
Wow, you said among a bunch of other things, and you didn't mention any of them.
Listen, I don't make the rules. It's all the people who want to buy a hat. You'll
Mhm.
give $1 to charity.
Yeah,
Just saying.
fair enough.
So, all right. You got anything else you want to say this month?
Nope. Just looking forward to the rest of the year.
All righty. Sounds good. Thanks, everyone.